This one is, to me, this is a dead giveaway. You have to use cosine law when it's side, 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 right? And we're gonna have to figure out angles, right? Because the sides are already solved. So in this particular case, watch what I'm going to do here. I set it up a certain way, okay? So follow me here. First of all, we're asked to solve for angle A. Angle A is right here, right? So angle A is right here. They're asking us for this sliver here, the measurement of that angle. I want you to be comfortable with the three-letter notation, so let's do that as well. The three-letter notation, let's do that over here. I always try my best, but I know sometimes these are tricky. So if you don't know how to do it, I would say, well, A is definitely going to be in the middle, right? This is like my middle point. So you go to another point, B, so you put that up front, right? You go back to A and then go take the next point, which is C. So this would be the same thing as referring to that angle there using three-letter notations. Or you can just flip these letters. You can say CAB, that's fine as well, right? You go CAB that way. That would be the three-letter notation. So don't forget about that. If I say, hey, find this angle, as long as you put the letter right next to it, a lowercase letter, you can go plug it in here in your diagram and then just work with that. I'm fine with it. But you need to clearly tell me what letter you're giving it. Okay? All right, let's solve here. You ready? We're going to solve for that angle, which means there's something going to happen with this side that's across that angle. So we're starting at like this, cosine of angle A. Oh, I'm going to use a different color for that one. I'm going to use a red pen in this case. Cosine of that angle, it happens to be A, but it could have been X, Y, Z. It doesn't matter. Focus on the pattern. You're going to go like this. Again, I do this all the time, so maybe I'm going a little fast here, but really what you would do is you look at cosine, you look at the two formulas you have for cosine. You know it's this one because it's side, 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 right? You're going to solve for an angle. So I'm going to go cosine of that angle, and the first thing you're going to write down is the side that's across from it, right? Which we call A here. We're going to go A squared. And then that means that you have B squared and C squared are the other two sides, right? And they are squared and added. And then the denominator, you have 2 times B times C. Notice that A doesn't show up again, okay? A only shows up once. That's the side across the angle you're interested in. Let's go up to our triangle and just label everything, okay? If you go across that, this is lowercase a. Across from C, you have lowercase c. Across from angle B, you have lowercase b, right? That goes without saying. But what I don't want you to do is fixate on the letters. I want you to fixate on the pattern. Because if you use ABC all the time and I throw an XYZ at you, you're going to be like, what, right? So pattern, let's go. Cosine of A is, watch what I do. I tell my students, write down the number across from that angle first, which is 18, right? So I go minus 18 squared. That's the first number I write down. And then I worry about the other one. So it's 22 squared plus 30 squared minus 18 squared. Make sure you get the formulas right, because if you're off by if you're missing the squared, let's say, it's going to be, you're probably going to get a math error. High likelihood of that happening. So watch how this is a little different, guys. I usually don't like choo-choo trains, but this is okay with this one. So you're going to say this one is equal to, you're going to calculate the top, the numerator separately, and then the denominator separately. 22 squared plus 30 squared minus 18 squared. That gets you 1,060. You write that down. You clear your screen. Then you're going to go 2 times 22 times 30. That's 1320. Got it? One more equal sign. And this better start with a 0 again. So I'm going to do that already. 0 point something. So you take the two numbers you calculated. If there are decimals, you include all decimals. All right? 1060 divided by 1320. That's 0.8030, and this continues. Leave it on your screen. Leave that number on your screen. Do not clear it, okay? Watch what we do now. We're almost done. Instead of cosine of A, we're going to go A. Anyways, cosine inverse of that. Remember, to find an angle, we have to use the inverse. We're using cosine law. So we're going to use inverse of 0.8030 dot dot dot. We are going to skip the initial formula that I gave you here. You don't have to have that. Okay, this is just here for our notes. So let's go ahead and go shift cosine. We're using cosine law equals, and you should get 3658. Okay, 3658. There we go, guys. Cosine law version 1.0. I'm going to give you a 2.0 right under this. So it seems like it takes a long time. I just took my time. You can do this just like that down the road, I promise you. Okay. Next, question B. I will set up my formula one more time. It's asking to determine the measure of the largest angle, and that's going to be across the longest side, right? We know that. What's the three-letter notation for this angle? Let's assume this is a quiz, a pop quiz. What would the three-letter notation be for the largest angle? It is angle C. I'm not going to deny it, right? So the angle C is it. You write it down first in your notes. What's the three-letter notation? Give me the two versions using a three-letter notation for this angle. Go for it. If you get it wrong, big deal. Zero risk today. I'm going to go up here. C is better be in the middle. So it's angle ACB, right? ACB or angle BCA. You kind of go backwards. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm going to go largest angle here. And I'm going to go up here and highlight C and say that this is the largest angle. Could it be obtuse, you think? Looks like it. Look, I actually used the software to draw that one to scale, so it is actually obtuse. So follow me, guys. This is going to be interesting. There's going to be a very important concept here. Okay? Very important. So cosine of C is equal to, what's the first number we're writing down? Minus, oh man, this is gonna cause me issues. So sorry guys, I'm gonna put that over top here. So C squared comes here. Therefore, I'm gonna square and add the other two sides. The denominator, I have 2 times A times B, just like that. So cosine of C, I'm looking up A squared plus B squared minus 30 squared over 2 times 18 times 22. I want you to figure out the two numbers by yourselves, top and bottom separately. Go for it. Some of you probably already did, but I want you to figure out the top and the bottom by yourselves. There's going to be something that stands out, and you're not wrong. If you did it right, you're not wrong. Okay. What's interesting about that answer? We got a negative C, negative, very important. Do not drop that, okay? So I am gonna say negative 92. That's 2 times 18 times 22, 792. Like that. So now, watch what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get a decimal out of this. My calculator, I can actually go minus, like minus 92 divided by 792, like that. And my decimal is negative as well. You're seeing that, right? So it's negative 0.1161. It keeps going. I will highlight all the negatives later, okay? So keep that on your calculator, and we're just going to show our work here. Angle C is equal to cosine inverse of negative 0.1161. And here is why it is important. You're going to get an obtuse angle. Watch. Shift cos equals, that's 96. 96.67 degrees. And we're going to say obtuse angle greater than 90. So sometimes if it's negative, even if it's 90.01, it's technically obtuse, right? As soon as you're over 90, you are over. So I'm going to go obtuse angle. I'm going to use a different color because I don't want you to think that the yellow is A, right? So the obtuse angle here came from that negative, right? The negative kind of followed through everywhere, okay? So do not forget about that negative. You're going to lose a full mark if you forget that one. Like if you just drop it, because your answer will not be an obtuse angle. Let me show you. Okay. So if you just went 92 divided by 792, you get the same value, but it's not negative. If you then go shift cos, it's not going to give you the obtuse angle. See? It gave me the acute. It's a smaller than 90, so it's important to get that right. So we found A, C. Let's find B now. So that one is just 180 minus angle A minus angle C, right? So if after today you need to sit down and practice a bit more, I will give you some questions to try that have the key attached to this booklet. Okay, so you can just try sine law, cosine law, what have you. And this little box on the side summarizes, right? Inverse cosine of a negative will always result in an obtuse angle. Okay. So I want you to practice this right away as it is fresh, right? So let's go to page 21 there. And I'll help you. I'll walk around because there's always some calculator issues here. That's why I want you to try it right now. If you get into trouble, that's fine. I'll get you out of trouble. Okay, page 21. I'll put the answers down, so write them down so you know. And remember, if you are given all three sides, then all you have left to do is find the angles. There are the angles, those are the answers, but I want you to obviously calculate them. What does it say at the top right corner there? It says this, right? It's very important. If you have an SS scenario, solve the largest angle first, right? If you have the choice, solve for the largest angle first. After that, you can do whatever you want. Okay? You just want to make sure that if there's an obtuse angle, that you use cosine law, right? To make sure that you don't run into trouble later on, because sine law doesn't know the difference between them. So go for it. Solve for the largest first, and then do the other ones. Maybe just stick to cosine law today. Okay, just stick to cosine law to practice it, and then we'll continue. We're not done yet. It's very important. So, yeah, I'm gonna show you now one more question, and then I'm gonna let you be. I'll give you some time to do some more review. So page 22, if you go with me to page 22, I'm going to call this sketch and solve, okay? Sketch and solve. I see some of you, like if you want to keep going, I will not be able to do every single example in this booklet, but if you want to, you go for it, right? Are you on page 22, right? Because this is a little different, no diagram provided, so you got to be able to do one of these. This is what I would suggest. You just draw, I call this a generic oblique triangle. Like make sure it doesn't look like a right triangle. So that's what I kind of suggest you do. I don't care if it's drawn to scale, not at all. And this is triangle fun, right? See what I did there? So you just start at a corner and just use the letters that you're provided with. Okay, so you go clockwise, counterclockwise, I don't care. And then label the side lengths using lowercase letters. Okay, like that. And fill in what you know. So you know that angle F is 42 degrees. It's this one here. You know that N is 36. 36 degrees right there. And that side, if it's just a lowercase letter, obviously we know that this is referring to this side here, 3742. What law, don't say it out loud, don't say it, just think about it, because I want everybody to kind of come there to that conclusion. What law would you have to use for this one? You didn't hear that. So remember, I don't get you to remember the letters anymore. SSA, ASA, right? Find a pair. See if a pair is possible, and you should realize that there is one. Angle U. This is called the hidden pair. Remember that one? 180 minus 42 minus 36, and you get 102 degrees there. You can now write that in, and there's your pair. Okay, that means that you will have to use sine law in this case. And I want you to review sine law, right? Because after today, I will expect you to know how to use both as needed. Right? So you go for it. You do that. I will give you the answers as well as the question underneath it. Okay, and that's what I would say it's a must today, right? These two questions. I will help you if you're stuck. And then watch this. One more thing. Starting on page 23, it says practice both laws, right? So this is kind of throwing everything at you. So 23, 24, and 25 has two questions as well. Those are all for you to practice, and the answer key is right after on page 26. I will put key on, if you go to page 26, just put key down at the top so you know that's the answer key to the previous questions, right? So if you want to know, the only downside is they round to the nearest degree, not to the two decimals, but that shouldn't affect you a whole lot, okay? So right now, page 22, try both of those. It says solve the triangle, which means for everything, all angles, all sides, and I'll give you the answers in a bit, okay? Actually, right now, I'll write them down for you. So for triangle fun, you get that. I hope you can see that, 25.6 and 22.49. Write those answers down, okay, so you know. So just try that.